watching the clock, 10,000 hours go by. I keep putting in work, the tears are filling my eyes. I swear I've never been tested like this, but this is mine. It's not a matter of chance, just a matter of time. Never look back. If something standing in my way, I always push back. If something seemed impossible, I never took that. Nah, cause now I know better. Can't stop, won't stop, I won't quit ever. Take me, the highest fall, it won't break me. The blood and sweat is what made me. I'ma get mine, just a matter of time.
Today's matchup, SK Telecom T1, BBQ Olivers, Hanwha Life Esports, Jinair Green Wings, MVP, Afrika Freaks, The Fantastic Run.
Welcome back to the LCK 2018 Summer. I'm Atlas, this is of course Papa Smithy, and we've got an early start today because we have 3 best of 3 series. Yes, it's the bottom 6 teams here in the LCK, but we still have no idea which rosters they're going to be running, so it'll be exciting to find out exactly who's going to be hitting the Rift today.
And of course, Wednesday is the only day that can hold potentially 9 games of LCK play. We've only got 4 Super Wednesdays. This is the last of them. If you guys are wondering, why are we on so early? Again, the format of the LCK to actually be able to play all the games in time for the Asia games had to be sped up a little bit. So we have Friday broadcasts, as I'm sure you're aware. Some of the Wednesdays are Super Wednesdays. We're plowing through the season. We actually only have this week and next week of 5 to 6 match day action, a short week, and we're done.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous here in the LCK. Already over 2/3 of the way through. And that means that the results have started to stack up. And it's why the bottom 6 teams here today, not necessarily out of the runnings for playoffs just yet, but they will need to definitely start the run if it's going to happen. And look, BBQ's in our first game. They're on a 2-match winning streak up against SKT to start things off. Are we ready to say that it's time for BBQ to go on a run? We'll see whether they can do it. But first, let's have a look at the MVP rankings. Khan staying towards the top with 900 points. Remember, you can win MVP with 1,000 points. We've seen that before here in the LCK. He's only 1 MVP away from potentially getting a record amount of points for the MVP.
But his team isn't going to be winning too many games recently, so perhaps there's opportunities to add to that total will go down. As you will notice a trend, Griffin won, and that means that Griffin KDA's once again top in all roles.
Yeah, sponsored by Griffin. Here's the KDA rankings for all of the roles. Spoiler alert, I have a feeling they're going to be near the top every single time around, but Smeb sitting up there as well, knocking on the door of Sword's top spot. Tarzan will certainly be the top of the jungle pool, but Spirit, Blank, Score, and Haru going to be following up, which is interesting. Spirit being second is huge.
KDA not always the most indicative, but the big numbers, we know you love them in Twitch chat. Get there and get excited by how big they are. Look how big this one is.
The biggest number of all the KDAs of Chovy in the mid lane. Remember, Griffin making their surge again, continuing to look better and better, decimating Kingzone in their last match. But Fly following up, Kuro there as well, so we'll see whether anybody else is going to be able to challenge the gigantic numbers that Chovy's put on. Looking in the AD carry role, Viper still up there. It's amazing that Deft, after having an undying series yesterday, still 5th at 4.7, and the 7.6 of Viper certainly reigning supreme.
Bit of a surreal top 3 for the AD role.
Yeah.
Songyun up there, definitely players you wouldn't expect to be top 3. Into the support role, Lahens does hold over Core JJ. A lot of 3 decimal places going on in some of these roles. 2 decimal places to separate Core JJ and Key there. The rankings come through, and if you're watching yesterday, like you mentioned, Atlas, we had the top 4 yesterday. It is starting to take form a little bit. Griffin is first. Katie Rolster and Gen G, 1 series behind. Kingzone 1 further series behind, but Afrika Freaks, if they win the final series of today, can join them at 8 match wins.
Yeah, this is going to be huge, and that result, KT getting that 2-0 over Gen G, is why that top spot is so coveted. Griffin did manage to get that victory over Kingzone, but all 4 of these teams are going to be playing again tomorrow night. We'll see whether Griffin can continue the form up against Gen G tomorrow.
We open with 7th versus 10th. SK Telecom T1 with a victory, and against a flagging Hanwha Life, who are playing later today. There is a real chance they can start moving towards 6th spot as early as 2 series from now with game score. They can't actually go ahead of Hanwha Life. A 2-0 and a 0-2 would not actually get them above Hanwha's game score. But for an SK Telecom squad that seemed rank outsiders for the playoffs, they're getting closer, but who is going to play today is the big question.
Well, we're going to find out right now. SK Telecom T1 will be on our blue side, and let's see who's in the mid lane. It's Pyrion once again. FLICKR didn't see him in our last series, and look, they managed to force off an entire roster to the bench with their performance in game number 1 against Hanwha, and we'll see whether this roster is going to be able to do it again.
While a lot of people have been wanting to see FLICKR in this stream, we all know that he's been on his stream streaming a lot, which usually is indicative, Atlas, unfortunately, of not being as involved in those scrims. So it seems like Pyrion, after their victory, a comfortable one, over 2 teams at the same time, Hanwha Life A and Hanwha Life B.
Yeah.
Both were taken down by Pyrion, and this all-conquering NA mid laner in an NA-friendly time zone is ready to go.
Yeah, and he's playing completely different champions as well. The Galio, the Lulu. Has FLICKR even played these champions
never
before?
Orianna's back.
I know.
I reckon Pyrion can get in there.
I was waiting for it, man. I was waiting for it. I really want the Pyrion Orianna just to really stick it to FLICKR's champion pool. But let's move over to the other side of the rift and see who's going to be jungling for the BBQ Olivers, whether it's going to be Trick, who has been a mainstay in the roster, and it will be. So the EU imports, both of them, are in here as Crazy, Trick, Tempt, Ghost, and Igna are going to be rounding out the BBQ Olivers roster.
We knew the global fans would be there big time for this early start, 2 p.m. Korean Standard Time. Let's get every LCS player we can find. Trick and Ignar going to be involved here. Said hello to them before. They were both smiling. They're in good form. They're 2 matches undefeated. They don't remember the other matches, but man, 2 matches undefeated.
This is the kind of stats that I'm looking at, though, Papa Smithy. They're on a run. This is the team that managed to take down Jinair. It was against all odds as well. That first match against Jinair was disgustingly bad by the BBQ Olivers, but then turning it all around, making Teddy look a little bit foolish on the Vladimir, and then taking down the Afrika Freaks. Ho, ho, ho. This could be a spicy one. I know it's bottom of the table, but BBQ Olivers aren't out of the running for playoffs yet, so we can't call them out. As you can see on your screen right there, loss against KT in the telecom war was SKT, but otherwise they have been picking up some more victories here in the second round robin.
They beat Jinair, and I was saying to Valdez, we have to give them some respect. They're coming off a victory. It's Afrika Freaks. Very unlikely they're going to even win a game. They won 2. They won the series against Afrika Freaks, so now they face SK Telecom T1. You were talking about possible permutations. I believe if BBQ lose today and Afrika Freaks win later today, BBQ's technically ruled out of playoffs. And given that we still have series to play, there's so many stats like that that will be generated over the weeks. Looking at stats here, Pyrion's 5 games have yielded a 3.5 KDA, but we now know he's 3% better than Tempt.
And you can see Bang, he's the one that they've been getting behind on the side of SKT. Blank as well, outperforming Tricked KDA-wise, but also on Blank's day, the man has been playing very, very well. You can see match history certainly in favor of SKT, but we'll see whether today is going to yield different results, because I swear to God, this season, this whole match history thing has meant basically nothing.
SK Telecom T1, such a proud team. We're only looking at 2017 to 2018. ESC Everdays, SK Telecom T1 playing against them under that old name in the Kesper Cup of 2015 as well. BBQ Olivers, a flagging season, but like you say, given their recent form and history being a little bit downplayed, who's to say what will happen? We're looking at Bang, and his pocket pick is Xayah in recent memory. Look at that win rate there. 14 wins, 1 loss. Not all of them have been about the funnel. In fact, he played the Xayah in his last game, and it was a Protect the Xayah comp against Hanwha Live B, and he popped off.
Yeah, that was one of the slowest moving compositions we've ever seen. It looked really, really dastardly towards about that 20-minute mark, but then Bang just continued to not die, and everything was fine for SKT.
We know he was the bus driver, and will he be again today, Atlas? Will he be able to hard carry his team? We're going to focus on the jungle matchup first.
Please, God, let's change the subject.
It's the man who's been most reinvigorated.
Yeah.
With Pyrion in the lineup, Blank has definitely passed the eye test of being able to level up, play very aggressive. If he can parlay this form into the inevitable return of the great man into the mid lane, that'd be a great sign for SKT. And his Talia on blue side, I think must be banned because he looked very strong on the pick. And SKT were ready to rotate and help him out counter jump.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of experimentation on the red side bans as well. So what will BBQ do in game number 1 to try and shake things up against SKT? The Nocturne priority certainly falling down in recent days, so that does leave a little bit open for interpretation for the team. I do love that we've highlighted the Kindred here as well, because Trick coming in after Bono's performance on the champion and really demonstrating how to utilize finesse and control on that pick is certainly strong. So whether he gets that pick or not will be another question, as SKT fans certainly are out in force. 4.7k votes for SKT. They really, really want to get behind this team, follow them through with some extra victories, because it's only one in a row that they've had so far, and that's not necessarily a stat. SKT need to make a run if they're going to get to playoffs.
Should definitely be beating BBQ in conventional logic, but you'd say the same thing about the FLICKR Freaks. SKT still hopeful of that late run in. I imagine any game losses and Pyrion will be out and FLICKR will be in. And that means there's a lot of pressure on that mid laner of SKT. The meta has once again rolled forward. We're seeing a lot more Orianna priority. Be interesting to see if that's agreed upon by the bottom 6. It certainly was by the top 4. We're in action yesterday. We will also have the top 4 playing tomorrow. That is going to be a fun match day on Thursday, but today it's a bit of an endurance test for everyone involved. These pros aren't often awake at 2 p.m. Korean Standard Time. The gamer lifestyle a little bit more offset into the earlier parts of the morning rather than the earlier parts of the evening.
Yeah.
So we're going to see how things go here. Crazy on your screen. Waiting to go load into the first game. Should be starting very short.
Yeah, I can actually see the SKT booth and just had confirmation from Joel over raid call that Pyrion needed to go to the bathroom. A little bit of a toilet issue here as we get into our first match.
Good news. Joel said we didn't have to say it. You just wanted to say toilet issue.
I just really did want to say toilet issue. So sorry, Joel. I went out on a limb and delivered the information anyway. So we're going to be checking out effort here in the booth. Excited to see what the draft is going to yield, and I think that being on blue side is going to be great for SKT because it means they'll be able to ban the Yasuo against Tempt, which was a huge problem for the FLICKR Freaks in Game 1. Great to see Tempt finally having some performances that we've wanted from this guy.
A couple of these players love it up. Blank, Tempt, Trick, I would say they're both in season best form in recent memory. Trick has really improved his pathing. Had some great games on Trundle as well. See if he's going to visit that pick. Ghost, a couple wins on the Vladimir in a row, and the Vladimir kind of a big problem champion for them earlier. Pyrion's back. No more issues for him, and that means it must be video gaming time.
I think we're ready to get into Champ Select, and this is going to be a very interesting one between these two teams. What is Pyrion going to be bringing to the table? Is he finally going to deviate from Faker's champion pool? Of course, it is very difficult to do due to the fact that the guy has played about 1 million one-offs, and you know that Faker can play basically anything.
Who?
He's the other middle. He's the guy on the bench. Remember, he's got that funny name in solo queue, Hide on Bush, and it's like Hide on Bench, and it's funny. Yeah. Well, let's get into pick and ban. We don't need to talk about that guy. He's irrelevant for this particular series because it's Pyrion in the mid lane. Zoe going to be the first ban here by SKT, and BBQ going to take away the Aatrox as per usual. So far, everything looking like it's under control as we enter into Champion Select.
Gragas, the
That's
first,
an interesting
second ban
one.
on blue side here. So SKT not wanting to give over the Flex Gragas pick for the side of BBQ. One win from Trick on that jungler.
But it's Ignar's champion mostly on the bottom side of the map. He's like 2-1 on the pick, and BBQ having a positive win rate on anything is pretty ridiculous.
3-3 actually, so 6 games because he played it earlier in the season, but recently, like you mentioned, it's been a winning pick. for Trick in the bot lane. That rhymed. BBQ might want to consider banning the Talia, as we saw Blank have a great game on it last time. So Aatrox, Talia, and Nocturne are banned together. There was never any ambiguity that SKT would first pick the Swain because it's a pick for Tal. Pyrion can play it in the mid lane, and Bang has looked good on it in the bot lane as well. So a three-way flex for SKT. Some teams have definitely been punished for playing the Swain in recent days, but I think for SKT, it's been a very strong pick.
Yeah, it's been the Griffin kryptonite, but that's a lot because they don't necessarily know how to play around these Swain compositions. SKT have been able to navigate it, as the Trundle is going to be picked away from Blank, I like to say, and now BBQ to try and figure out what they're going to go with next, and it will be the Ezreal. So no Tahm Kench to go with because they banned it away themselves, so no Gen G special to come out from BBQ, but we'll see exactly what Ignite's going to be able to get his hands on because the Alistar's up, and he's played pretty damn well in recent weeks on the Alistar pick as well.
Trundle has been rising in win rate in the LCK. Our pathing junglers have been having a field day pathing around as the Orianna priority is way up. It's usually against certain picks, not usually against a Trundle and Ezreal, so they're just going to flash it. Of course, we know that it will be considered. We saw it liked by teams against the Swain recently as well. It didn't really require much more invitation for Griffin to pick it against Swain. So we'll see if the decision is to take it at some point in this draft. Looks like it won't be a first-round pick as Ignar's Alistar is available. Higgs was banned. He is a phenomenally strong Alistar player, and it makes sense to pick that up for BBQ.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely brilliant. It means that SKT are priced into banning away that Yasuo as well, which will be huge if BBQ can grab it on the first round of the second round of picks. That's confusing.
And also consider that with Trundle, they have kind of situational engage. Ezreal doesn't have any CC, so Ignar once again gets to be on primary engage. Gragas denied. Alistar a nice pickup. Compositionally, we're actually going to see a Kindred ban here, and I think this is a phenomenon we're going to see with Pyrion in the lineup is Blank erring towards more aggressive picks in the jungle. Doesn't look to be a farming jungler as much. He tries to be more aggressive, given that Pyrion is most comfortable on global champions. The Talia and Galio are the wheelhouse for Pyrion. The Orianna going to be considered as well, I imagine. See if the Galio is contested, though, as both these teams have preferred it in recent patches.
Yeah, we could be heading towards a bit of a Galio game. Plus, looking at the Rakan-Galio synergy has always been fantastic. We saw that first-round pick by KT last night. LeBlanc going to be banned away here as BBQ consider the fact that SKT can flex the Swain top lane.
Makes you wonder if Orianna is going to be the pick for BBQ.
Could be.
The LeBlanc, one of the tricky lanes. It is a skill matchup, but without it, it's the 2018 LeBlanc rather than the LeBlanc previously. And Orianna will just be drawing a ban as a result. So they see the LeBlanc ban. They're now respectful of Orianna. And Alistar Orianna is one of the engaged duos of old. BBQ looking for solo lanes.
I really want the Yasuo here from BBQ. I know it's a little bit dangerous to sort of pick it into SKT locking down their mid lane, but Galio would be a safer option. Looks like that will be the choice here. You did mention that this would be the contested mid lane pick.
With Orianna gone,
go for it.
With Orianna gone, and as you mentioned, Atlas, it's a bit of a denial pick to the already strong engage of SKT. You feel pretty good about picking up the Galio and putting on the BBQ World skin that they didn't earn but did get.
Yep.
SKT looking for jungle, and we're going to have to find out where the Swain is going.
It'll be most likely mid lane that they're going to go with. We'll see what Pyrion does actually want to take in there. It won't be the Orianna. Might be the Lulu. Who knows?
I think it might just be... I mean, both have virtue. Swain and Galio is a farm lane, but Swain can make a farm lane out of most top matchups, and Tal has preferred the Swain. So we'll see if Pyrion actually has something he likes into the Galio. Cassiopeia has been using this lane, but hasn't been buffed yet. We're on 8-13. So it's kind of unlikely to be played.
Wow, very front-to-back composition coming in from SKT if this Ornn is going to be locked in, but no. Looks like Tal's going to be going a little bit more aggressive, or is Pyrion taking an AD matchup in the mid lane into the Galio? Because he could potentially get abused by the Jace.
We'll have to wait for the final confirmation on that. We've had a lot of top lane Jace this week. Khan and Smeb have already played it 1-1 on yesterday's match day, and BBQ have to respect now that one of the strongest, probably the strongest blind pick top laner has been selected. Into the Jace, you can consider Camille. Kennen is also something you can consider on a fantastic matchup. They're going to go for the Camille. That means they do get the Hextech Ultimatum and Galio synergy, but Crazy has had some struggles on the Camille top lane this season. That was in the Jax skill matchup. He lost that one with a very big mistake. This time going to have to be more controlled against the Jace.
He will. And I thought maybe if SKT had have gone with Yorn, this could have been a really cute flex, moving the Trundle towards the top side. And Crazy going to be playing the champion that Tal is named after against him, and that would have been a pretty cool storyline. However, not going to be the case, as like you say, Crazy's going to be piloting that Camille. Pretty stock standard composition coming in from BBQ as well, and we'll see whether they can utilize this global advantage that they may have. Crazy in the late game is certainly going to be enabled with the Hextech ultimatum with the hero's entrance on top of him, but it's whether he can get there that's going to be the huge deal, because SKT, they've got strong lanes as well as having strong late game security as well.
Not often with a Jace draft do you have identity in a team fight. You were talking about how very early SKT were looking to be front to back, just try to take down the enemy frontliner.
Yeah.
You can actually just use Jace with a Black Cleaver to just hyperdrive down the front line and have Bang focus that target and play front to back, even though it's Jace Xayah as the only true damage threat. So I actually think they do have identity in a team fight. Still, team fight comp on the side of BBQ is a wombo engage comp. Camille Galio needs no introduction. The Alistair to set up the engage as well. To me, the jungle matchup will be the most interesting here. Very early priority on the Trundle. If Trick is ahead of the play again, they start rolling with the Galio ults. This could be a nice snowball for BBQ.
Exactly right, and we've seen Trundles be so successful recently as well. So SKT, can they do it against the BBQ Olivers on a 2-match win streak? Let's find out right now. All right, the few BBQ fans that have made their way over here, remember guys, it's a Wednesday and it's in the middle of the day, so these fans are certainly very dedicated to their teams, taking some time off.
We are lucky that university, college, and school are on summer holidays, and that is mostly our fan base here, is the younger fans, of course, but anyone who's made their way out at 2 p.m. for a video gaming event needs to be commended. A lot of people look at me and they say, we have a lot of students who watch, especially high school students. They say 2 p.m. that's a crazy time to wake up. Of course, it's all a bit different. You don't need to be up at 7 a.m. if you're a gamer. In fact, that's probably the worst time for matchmaking, I imagine, on any server.
Oftentimes, it's people who are still awake that are playing at that time.
That's true, and that's why it's the worst time.
It's definitely a very bad time. The amount of griefing does happen a lot.
Well, just so you guys know, we'll reiterate, we're on patch 8.13 this week with hotfixes enabled. Same patch as last week. People have tweeted at us and said, when are we on 8.14? Because Korea patches on a Wednesday and then the tournament starts each week on a Tuesday, it's less than 1 full week, so the changes don't go live. So the assumption is that we will be on 8.14 next week, starting on Tuesday.
Yeah, they're not going to be seeing very much funnel, but of course still haven't been on this current hotfix patch anyway, as Tal doing a lot of damage to Crazy. Those shock blasts are going to hurt, but Crazy knew that when he picked this Camille into the Jace. See whether he can navigate around this matchup as Trick. Move on over. We have vision of him.
So big to get the topside scuttle. If you could vertical jungle for your Camille, it allows the trades to be strong, and Trick's just going to smite this. Every team that has a Jace wants to get as much control topside and allow Jace to win every 1v1 matchup, because that is just how Jace works. But Camille works best into Jace if you can take hookshot trades and not just be worried about a counter gank. And that's why any coverage that Trick can provide is very big for Crazy when it comes to not just being snowballed on, purely in terms of CS in the 1v1.
Yeah. Well, he's still going to have to navigate the hookshot trades better, considering his pretty famous horrible play onto the Jax.
We do like to talk about it. If you guys aren't aware, it was BBQ versus a FLICKR in the first round robin. It was Crazy on Camille top with no flash, hookshotting in to get a ranged minion, and then a double buff at the time. Jax just instant killed him because he went too far. So let's just say it was the worst time possible to hookshot for a ranged minion, and Crazy needs to work on that Camille decision-making in this series.
Well, speaking of decision-making, Pyrion destroying Tempt here in the mid lane. Of course, going to use his health bar as a resource, is the melee Galio, and Winds of War should be pretty good at clearing up these minions. Does so nicely, and Tempt will probably just teleport back into this lane. Tal actually taking a lot of damage from Crazy here on the top side, who has used all of his charges of the Corrupting Potion.
Camille's hookshot is really underrated as a lane trading tool because it's matchups like this, melee versus ranged, and you have to hold on to hookshot. Big thing to consider is that Camille's considered a counter into Kindred, another very strong skirmishing champion in the jungle. In the top lane, Jace pretty similar in terms of how he plays. You get those stun trades, double Q proc and disengage, and you're going to win most damage trades. SKT push up and bot, trying to actually get this scuttle for Blank, and he'll pick it up.
Yeah, it was a very cute little ward, actually, that BBQ had put down that spotted out the bottom lane heading up to try and take down that Rift Scuttler. Powered Shock Blast not going to be able to find Crazy, who teleports back into his lane as well, has himself Doran's Blade and a cute little longsword. So just going to be laning comfortably is the Camille.
They have a CS advantage as well because first the scuttle and then the aggressive trades made Tal play very respectfully. Anything to force a Jace to go suboptimal and build is a great feel for the Camille. Double Doran's is going to be diminishing returns on when that first completed item will come through for the Jace. So you always take your wins in micro form against a Jason lane. He is oppressively strong. You'll be happy with this if you're BBQ.
Yeah. Be happy with how the game state is going as well if you're BBQ, because they're able to push forward, get aggressive vision down. You can see that control ward is very far into the top side jungle. You can see they're protecting Crazy as much as possible, knowing that the Camille is a large part of their win condition given their comp that they have right now, as Blank looking to try and clear out the control ward that was just put down.
Question mark pings already for the benefit of Pyrian, as Ignar already had his roaming shoes on. No boots of mobility yet, but all about hitting the other lanes. Ignar 3-1 on the Alistar this season.
Yeah.
3 wins on Alistar, 3 wins on Gragas, and just a single win on the Blitzcrank for the 7 games that BBQ have been able to pick up in the summer season. A meager total, but again, 2-0 in terms of match score. And we've known ever since, I guess years ago now, Misfits Ignar and also BBQ Ignar, if he's getting the Alistar, we're usually in for a treat.
Yeah. Feels that as soon as Ignar has any agency in a game, then he makes calls and takes down his opponents. As Crazy will probably need to hookshot his way out of here unless he wants to try and bait this in for a counter gank, because
he does.
Tempt is making his way up. Hero's entrance is there, and Blank says, well, hell no. I ain't doing this with the Galio roaming around the map.
We do have the power of chicken and the power of cowbell this game, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, this is a huge one. BBQ able to use their mascots in the game. Certainly means that things could be dangerous, but Crazy does have a huge minion wave to contend with here on the top side. And it's going to be Tal being able to get a decent back timing as well, as this minion wave is going to crash into the turret.
Crazy's going to get all the CS too.
Yeah, not too bad. As he's going to continue to have this lead. Not necessarily what we were expecting, as he does this one.
Come on, Crazy. You can do it!
Oh, you got trolled by minion pathing there, so I'm gonna give that one to him. Benefit of the doubt.
Cast a curse.
Yeah, for the top laner. Blank's going to walk over yet another control ward and ignore it. Pyrian's going to come down and
he knows what he wants, baby. He wants this sick 140 gold.
Yeah.
How much? It's 105 now.
It'll
get
scaled
to
up
140.
just yet. Yeah. And now it takes down the control ward. Vision control now around this Infernal Drake at 7 minutes into the game is relevant for SKT. Whether they can get some lane priority bottom side is the question, as Ghost pretty comfortable at the moment. Does have a slight CS lead with a wave pushing towards him. Decided that he wasn't under too much threat as he's gone for the early tier. As Crazy taking so much damage topside, needs to use the hookshot to try and get out, but I think it might be on cooldown, as there's the flash, doesn't go for the fat one, as there is the shock blast missing, and Crazy holds onto his life, but not his flash.
Slow into flash there to be able to open up enough space. It's a very intriguing game in terms of what to expect moving forward. It's been a quiet early game, so we have a time to talk about that. Basically, these comps at 2 items or at 20 minutes into the game have very different ideas of how to close out the game at that time. BBQ are all about timings. Galio ult, the Ezreal 2 items being combined together. That's going to be an Infernal picked up by SKT. Whereas SKT want to leverage Jace's lane power around the same time to try to push for objectives while BBQ are making a misfire with their globals. So BBQ want to engage on 2 items and try to find a snowball lead through specifically the team fight or any sort of picks they can get, whereas SKT really would want to engineer advantages around both Xayah Rakan's laning, but specifically the Jace on the top side. So whichever of those can kind of stretch the game further at 20 minutes is probably a good sign that that team will close out the game in the mid game.
Yeah, And right now, it's a great sign that Tal was able to grab that flash as well in the 1v1 because it means that Trick has to spend more time on the top side of the map. SKT probably know that as Tal's playing pretty far back in this lane, trying to get these pings out. Ignat roaming around the map, has those Mobies you were talking about before. And is the roam going to be enough? Hero's entrance comes down. They want to try and force this. It's a good knock-up onto Tal, but the ult to come in from Blank, and that is going to be able to lock down first blood. Thankfully for BBQ, they're able to at least even it out, but in goes the Hero's entrance as Ignat has to flash to get out of the way of the turret, and Crazy just goes down. It's a disaster for BBQ, as now Pyrion does have that demonic ascension available to him. And Tempt probably not going to be able to eat enough honey fruit to get out of this one. Nevermove comes in and Pyrion explodes to pick up the Galio.
BBQ Olivers, they took a first-class one-way ticket to try to kill the Jace, but unfortunately, they had no follow-up. They were denied at the border. Turns out you need a return ticket in order to make a play like this. They go straight in, and the moment that Blank is there, good pathing from him, good understanding. I'm sure it was a call by Tal saying, hey, I'm likely to be ganked. They knew Ignat was out of lane again. Ignat's taken down very, very low. Someone has to tank the turret. It's crazy because Ignat had to flash away. It's a rough play from the side of BBQ. We know they want to accelerate the game, but the relentless aggression without a minion wave was a bridge too far.
Yeah, let's not accelerate it in the wrong direction, as Crazy does get the stun onto Tal, but after the engage was when the shield came in, and now he's taking a lot of damage from that hypercharge. Might be able to get a flash here, but Blank is going to turn up. Now teleports coming in from SKT. BBQ getting abused all over the map. Hookshot's cute there from Crazy to try and save him under the turret. Moves out of the way of the Nevermove as well, as he's able to get himself to relative safety. Tal goes under the turret as well, but the physical shield comes in, and Crazy's going to be able to get himself out. Pyrion very low, but Tempt not going to be able to go any further forward given the health bar on their Camille.
Crazy played that about as well as he could when it came to disengaging and not going down with the death. Didn't have Hookshot to stun under the turret. SKT aren't able to get anything, investing their teleport to try to make the play happen. We back away, and man, we had a lot of action, a lot of trades early. We still don't know if it's in service of two-item Ezreal and Galio combining, or Jace running away with the lane. But both teams understand that this game really is there to be won in the next 15 minutes.
The plays coming from BBQ, though, feel like they're desperate, Papa. It's not feeling like they're in control of what they want to get done here this game. It feels like SKT are able to just answer this aggression, play comfortably, play calmly. Feels like an SKT of old, where it feels inevitable that you're going to lose if you're the opposing side, and so you feel like you have to force plays, which I don't think BBQ necessarily had to do this game.
I think Blank, as he popped over, popped his sweeping lens and noticed there was a ward in the Rift Herald pit, so he knows he's been spotted and won't be looking for an extended gank. I always hesitate to talk about the SKT of old with their current struggle, but it is, as you say, passing the eye test, and I just want to talk about the SKT of a couple of days ago, because Bang is still going to be set up to be primary carry in these team fights. A lot of CC in front of him, and a Black Cleaver Jace in order to shred armor, and we know exactly how he did when he had his items in that series against Hanwha Life. That was Hanwha Life B in game number 2. He was vintage Bang and was able to hard carry. It's a phenomenon I discussed when I was talking about 2015 SKT, when EasyHoon, the most supportive mid laner, the last time that FLICKR was really subbed out with any regularity, we would see Bang just be so much more aggressive. He'd play the same champion. There's a lot of Vayne in 2015 summer. And with FLICKR, he would never look to tumble forward in every team fight, whereas he couldn't stop tumbling forward when he was with EasyHoon, understanding that there was much more burden on him in the team fight. So if we see once again the sort of big performance from Bang he was able to do a few days ago, it's good to see that he understands his differing responsibility with a change in lineup.
And I also think it's really cool that you illustrate the fact that it's not necessarily EasyHoon being worse than FLICKR straight up, but yeah, straight up different, because he can peel a lot better. He can play that utility role a lot better, whereas FLICKR wins games by himself sometimes.
And the old adage, as we're waiting to see if Trick is going to face check the Sejuani here. They got a deep ward here, so very unlikely to happen, but the old adage when it came to play against SKT in their real heyday, we're talking 2013, 2014, when they were absolutely the best and unstoppable, was shut down FLICKR and you shut down SKT. FLICKR's the one who's going to play aggressive on any champion, and Bang is the secondary carry, was kind of the adage on 2015 SKT. There was the argument you don't need Piglet, the sort of player who also looks for his own advantages. Bang being more reliable in the bot lane was what SKT immediately needed in 2015 to play off how much aggro FLICKR draws. The converse is true. If you have a mid laner who's more of a role player, there needs to be someone else who's standing up to be the carry. And it's cool to see that Bang, situationally, can do that.
Yeah. Also talking about previous top laners for SKT as well, there were other points of power that they could lean on, Marin being one that comes to mind especially. SKT are going to be taking Shelly here, as Blank Empyrean should easily be able to do that. Galio was moving up towards top side, but not able to get there in time as Bang's going to pick up the Eye of the Herald. And now, see where SKT are going to put that one down. Rift Herald has become such a huge objective here in the early game for all of the teams, given the fact that we haven't seen as much prowess in Siege. So SKT being able to grab that first turret could be massive, moving them into a mid game that they're comfortable with.
All the roaming that Ghost has done. Bang has a very quick Storm Razor already. I would say it is a stronger one-item power spike than the Iceborne Gauntlet. And some of BBQ's item builds were slowed from their repeated attempts to turret dive topside. Still, gotta respect those Galio teleports, but not as much on the bot side. Blank rolls in, very aggressive use of the Rift Herald. They have double control ward on the bottom side of the map, so the Galio will be very predictable, and this should be a successful push for SKT.
Well, Ignara is going to try and get Shelly out of here, but she will just charge down the turret. Not going to get a second one, given 3 people are down here. But SKT, they've got an open Mountain Drake that they can head towards, as well as Pyrion with lane priority in the mid lane.
It's just a really ordered play. Double control ward means the scuttle is safe, means that summoning the Rift Herald was safe. No chance of a Galio counter gank because they would have spotted him a mile away. Very, very nice play by SKT.
Yeah. And even Effort going to avoid taking the Q damage. Now BBQ have to work out how they're going to get back into this game. Remember, their team fight is still very strong. Still something that they're looking for in the mid game, but they want 2 items on their Ezreal. They want the Trinity Force on Crazy, because Crazy is a huge part of this puzzle. If he continues to struggle here on the top side of the map, it could be a problem. Still ahead in farm, but that lead was much bigger earlier.
And I want to inspect the early itemization from Tal. Notice he's rushed Black Cleaver. We knew Black Cleaver would come into the build to give Jace a teamfight identity, but he's gone for teamfight first before necessarily an item purely to deal with Crazy in the 1v1. The reason for that is they have Storm Razor, soon to be Zeke's Convergence, and a Black Cleaver Jace. That means that Bang, very early, if the Wombo doesn't kill someone, which is unlikely to do if flashes are up, you flash back, you take the Jace, you put the Hyperdrive into the closest target, and then Storm Razor Xayah is going to melt that first target and push forward. So they're actually able, at the time when BBQ want to fight, to maybe win the 5v5s.
Oh, Crazy in so much trouble as Blank's going to turn up. Tal gets at least the hop up, but it's not enough damage here from SKT as Blank misses his buttons. Shock Blast goes wide. Crazy survives, but now Effort looking for a little bit more. They spot Trick making his way up, but it's just the counter dive again from SKT, and they finish off Crazy. Not playing respectfully enough on the Camille.
And SKT playing so decisively, sticking around, going for the engage on Blank. They're going to take their second turret of the game, backing up the one in the bot lane. Not going to tank it up for now. They might have to wait for the next minion wave, which crucially is far away. But nice play by the side of SKT as Pyrion, he's caught.
Yeah, he's in trouble. Teleport's going to come in from the Ezreal as Ignat does have the flank available as well. Demonic Ascension doing some work as Teleport's going to back up Pyrion as well. In comes Tal as now her Hero's Entrance comes down, and Ghost has to get the hell out of this fight. Does survive, but can they find any more? It looks like the answer is no, as Crazy utilized his teleport to get himself bottom lane, given the meaning now top lane is well and truly open for SKT to take down.
They don't take the turret just yet. Bang actually had already pathed to the bot lane in order to be there for a potential gank. Feels like SKT have been slightly ahead of the play, which against a global comp, it's usually the difference between a BBQ snowball and BBQ being halted when they have this global lead. It's another Hero's Entrance that doesn't really grant them too much. SKT happy to rotate around. That's chip damage on mid and top with bot already crashed down. This could be a big gold lead, over 5,000 when they roll down the standing gold in top and mid.
Yeah, and I feel like BBQ just playing like SKT have every advantage around the map, even though their composition might say team fights could go your way, BBQ. They've got 2 items on their Ezreal. We almost have the transformation for this Muramana as well, but it's just not quite enough, and they're not able to utilize it. Temp's got a 20 CS lead in that mid lane. The Galio certainly is big enough to start a fight. They're just not going for it. They're playing scared, and SKT are all over them.
BBQ haven't been able to play through Ignar. He hasn't been able to find his usual flanks, headbutt Pulve, and be a conduit for that hero's entrance. Instead, he's been well shadowed. It's been effort. That should be on the front foot a little bit more. Not to fault Ignar for trying, they just haven't been able to coordinate big plays around that Alistar. If he's not doing the hard engage, Crazy's too far behind, no first item in order to be an initiator, so we haven't seen the value of the Hextech Ultimatum and the Hero's Entrance duo just yet because those champions have not been grouped, those ults have not been able at the same time to be used, and SKT have run around BBQ to the tune of a comfortable gold lead at 20 minutes.
Yeah, and this is not where we wanted to see the gold if you're a BBQ fan because they wanted to be ahead regardless in this situation, given the teamfighting prowess that SKT will have in the late game. Xayah Rakan is always something that you need to talk about as Temp does at least get this minion wave towards the top side. They've got some pressure up here, but pressure is something that BBQ haven't been able to boast about this game at all.
Tried too much. They really tried to get the ball rolling with that level 8 turret dive on the top side, but the counter gank, the 3 kills to 1 trade there for SKT, has allowed them to control the game. They didn't necessarily get the invitation at the start. Their ability to run away with the tempo of this game is credit to this new SKT lineup. Seems like it has to be temporary with FLICKR, a player of his quality, on the bench, but they were able to go 4-0 against opposition that most people would say in this game they should beat. Humble Life was one that was a little bit harder to evaluate. Yeah. Close to these 2 turrets to really grow that gold lead. All BBQ can do for now is seemingly delay the inevitable of the 3 outer turrets going down.
And at least they do have the items coming in. So Crazy does finally have the Trinity Force. He's moved towards the bottom side, but against a Jace with 30% CDR, a whole bunch of decent items. BBQ are going to look for flank. He could be the option here. Headbutt Pulve is going to come down as it's a beautiful knock-up from Effort. Does get the quickness over the top of everyone, but Trick is huge with the subjugate. Oh, the taunt from Tempt! As now Bang's having to try and fight him, but he gets knocked up. Hero's Entrance just to get him out of the fight as they trade 1 for 1. Ignar now running away from Tal, and the Unbreakable Will's going to wear down. That's an easy hammer bonk to come in from the Jace, and they'll steal a blue buff to boot.
Big play from Effort to stop multiple members of his team being womboed down after Ignar finally got the flash engage he's been searching for the last 10 minutes or so. That means SKT trade up even when BBQ are using their long cooldown ultimates. They fall back, they still have the Jace to play around. The fallback for SKT with their shorter cooldowns is always going to be more comfortable than the fallback for BBQ.
Yeah, that was a really curious Hero's Entrance. I felt like he could have jumped onto Ignar there and saved his life. However, not the case. He's going to be able to go back and get himself a Zhonya's Hourglass, so it's a good 2-item power spike for Tempt, but we want to see some more heads-up play from this Galio because there's a lot on his shoulders this game to get work done.
I just worry that when you go back and see a rapid-fire cannon built on Bang and getting full value out of the Storm Razor with your first crit item, maybe that window is already closed for BBQ. The Summoners haven't been able to be forced too regularly from SKT. The Wombo engage into killing one person for now isn't working, especially if Effort can continue to tie up the members of BBQ when they try to dogpile on. And then the turn from SKT with Black Cleaver into a 2-item Xayah. Bang is going to be doing an approximation of the last time we saw him on Xayah, and that was with Lulu, with Ardent Sensor and all sorts of buffs. This time it's just his own clean early game that will be empowered by the Jace.
Yeah, we saw what this Xayah Rakan combo can do without necessarily having everything stacked on top of them yesterday. Deft as well, having a pretty standout performance. Him and Bang being our resident Xayah players of note, certainly. Bang been playing it for a long time. You saw the stats. Huge domination on this pick so far in the LCK across all matches.
Also running pretty low on damage. Feels like they're running a bit on fumes, BBQ, because Iceborne Gauntlet to respect the Jace. You can understand that from Ghost. But at the same time, Tempt is going for Zhonya's build, which is much more about zoning than it is necessarily about big amounts of damage. The Camille is far behind. We already know that, about an item behind his opposing top laner. Now, if you don't outnumber the members of SKT, you probably lose an even-numbered fight. And that's already another conditional variable for BBQ to consider when we know that unconditionally they're 4,500 gold behind.
Yeah. With a comp that never wanted to be behind in the first place. BBQ at least able to clear out some minion waves. Tiles split pushing on the bottom side, but he's hit 2 items. You've got Blank. He's got his Warmogs now as well. very strong on the Sejuani. Not quite able to activate, I don't think, unless he's hit the right level. I think after about level 12, you do have about the 3K mark with these two items.
Crazy on a bit of a solo split push mission, but a bit of piggyback coming from the Galio. They don't know SKT's here, though.
Yeah, X-Tech Ultimatum is going to come down. Trick's going to turn up, making it a 3 versus 3, but Crazy's already been taken out. A lot of damage now onto the Jaces. They do manage to get the return kill, but stun comes down, and now Ignar looking to try and take down Bang on the bottom side, but he's not going to be able to get anything. It's Bang. He's got the autos, and he's got the kill onto the Alistair's Ghost. Not a lot of options here. Pyrian split pushing on the top side as well, and BBQ trade down in a man advantage situation.
That's because BBQ didn't have the vision to know that 2 members of SKT were hanging around. They just said, we have Galio ult, we have Camille ult, let's kill one person. Actually, they were going to be caught in transition. Ignar just taken down solo by Bang as he tries to be there for more CC, and now Ghost.
Yep, at least able to get some damage onto Effort here as Bang. Lots of follow-up onto the Ezreal and the Trundle there as well. So Trick, he's going to have to go back. Pyrian's going to take a red buff here. He's just cruising around the enemy jungle without a care in the world. Old man Swain locked in here now, but who's locked in with who? As Temp finally turns up, Ghost on half health, not able to get the red buff, but at least it goes to Trick instead of Pyrian.
I feel like the last engage, not sure if we'll get a replay of it, does indicate what Hextech Ultimatum and Galio ult provides, but from ahead. If you're ahead, you don't even need vision control. You say, I've got all the damage, let's just kill this one guy. We can skip over vision because we have guaranteed engage. Unfortunately, all they have from behind is the guaranteed engage. They have no idea. Look at the river on the minimap here. I know you're drawn to people dying, but if you look at the minimap, they have no idea who is or isn't around the Drake, and that's why when they're outnumbered, Ignar dies, multiple people die, they lose, and as you mentioned, they don't even need SKT 5 members to pull this play off.
Nope, and that's what got them the inner turret on the top side of the map as well. SKT are going to grab themselves a Cloud Drake. That's going to be Earth, Wind, and Fire picked up. Shout out to them. And SKT, 3 Drakes, 4 turrets to 0, a huge gold lead. Looking in a very comfortable position. Last team fight, Bang, but seeing all of that damage that he was able to do to Ignar as he made his way down the river, but it was more about Tal staying alive for as long as he possibly could. And efforts to re-engage really did look good from SKT.
They just look squared up. They look, once again, like their communication is what we expected from SKT in the past and haven't seen in summer season especially. It is very, very difficult for us to speculate. There's been already some interviews with the SKT players. They aren't doing so much talking about the differences between Pyrian and FLICKR. We all know FLICKR is a better player than Pyrian at playing mid lane. But when it comes to SKT in these games, you got to say they look very strong in their last 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, we always used to say it about FLICKR versus EasyHoon as well, and it's about different identities and about what the team needs as opposed to is X better than Y. You know, that's not the conversation you're having because often, too many chefs in the kitchen can be a problem. Look at SKT, look at KT Rolster, a team that has had players that are basically the best in their role and still not able to get the title.
But if you have the Master Chef, why don't you just build around the Master Chef is, of course, the counter-argument to that point. All we can say is, with the roster they have right now, SKT are playing good League of Legends, sound League of Legends, ordered League of Legends, and doing all those things at once has kind of escaped them for the better part of summer season.
Yeah, and regardless of whether we're playing with FLICKR or not, SKT have looked better in the second round robin. It's certainly an opportunity for them to get towards playoffs, desperate to try and get to at least that 5th position so they can get themselves into the gauntlet, play their way towards at least the Worlds qualifier, but maybe even LCK final.
Seeming like we're at a point in the game where it's impossible for SKT to lose a team fight. They now have a Snowball Guardian Angel onto the Xayah, who was already doing plenty of damage, as we were able to see. Swain is not a pick target either. The Jace can just skirt around fights. SKT onto the Baron. BBQ are being slow to react, which to some degree is understandable, but you gotta eventually go for your face check. They have no blue trinkets available.
Yeah, well, Teleport is gonna fly forward now. BBQ know what's going on, but it's a little bit too late as Blank's gonna be able to lock down the Baron, and now SKT, they just move themselves back. Bang actually wanting to frontline. Does have the ultimate at the ready, both of his summoner spells. Everyone goes home, empowered recalls, more money, more items, and a more chance that BBQ are not gonna be able to hold this one off because you mentioned The Snowball Guardian Angels, they've now got 2 of them. This is exactly what you see. You look at this and you see SKT wanting to break open the base and win the game right now.
Honestly, SKT see a Hextech Ultimatum Galio ult and they think double kill because they're not going to be dying during that particular initiation, and they've got so much damage to punish anyone for getting into melee range of Jace, Xayah, and the Swain in the mid lane. Now it's all about just playing very stock standard 4-1 with the Jace. Send Jace into the bot side. And multiple members mid. Seems like the Swain will push the top lane before rotating a long lane, so won't get any turret damage done anytime soon. But SKT in every way feel comfortable, and even if they play 1-3-1, which usually you would never consider doing against Camille Galio levels of engage, and they're probably pretty comfortable there as well.
Yeah, given the fact that Pyrion can tank people for a very long time. He's got a Zhonya's as well as his Demonic Ascension. Everything's fine there. Tal with his Guardian Angel and ability to speed himself up. Knows that it's just temp down here, and they've just got so much forward vision. SKT are in complete control of the map, meaning that, yeah, 1-3-1's extremely easy because every play that BBQ make is projected early by to SKT, given the vision that they have.
And when it comes to BBQ, I think it's very clear this game it was about execution. I don't think it was a fault in the draft. This draft can definitely be a winning draft for the side of BBQ, but those execution fails, the big failed turret dive, and everything's fallen apart for them.
Yeah, it's all coordination failures as well, not necessarily laning phase, because we saw Crazy with a huge lead against the Jace, something we weren't necessarily expecting. Ghost had a lead early, Tempt had a lead early, just in the laning phase purely, and it's a shout out to SKT's coordination and how they've played as a team. That's been the downfall of BBQ, because after that failed dive top lane, they never let off the pressure, and SKT have coordinated themselves and created advantages from that point on and never let up. It's scary to see SKT playing like this ordered, this controlled, and now moving to break the base in a second place. His Never Move lands onto Trick, he gets chunked down, has Subjugate available to him as Bang takes a fair bit of damage there, but this tower already down to below half health, and this Siege minion just doing damage after damage. Ghost finally takes it down with a Mystic Shot. The Ezreal feeling a little bit on life support here in this game. Hasn't been able to get too much done. Effort gonna move up this minion wave. And SKT staring down the barrel of a Game 1 victory.
Walking up for the last bits of damage here. BBQ, will they go for the engage? They do.
Yeah, in goes Ignar. He's going to try and get this one done as Hero's entrance comes down as well. It's a good load of damage to come in, but the Rakan grabs the first kill. Blank is going to suffer as Pyrion flashes forward to pick up the Demonic Ascension kill on the Ezreal, and now, without a lot of the damage, it's BBQ suffering at the hands of SKT. A huge play from the mid laner, and now it's all in shambles. The base has been ruined, and SKT are going to push for the win.
SKT, very ordered, very solid play here in the first game of the day. Temp tries to flash, not going to work.
Yeah, it was a cute one. He's going to be able to use the Zhonya's to at least keep himself alive for a moment, but Effort, he does the same thing. He's not going to die this day as Bang takes down the last remaining Nexus turret. The Nexus, the only thing standing in their way, and BBQ fall down in game 1. SKT looking fantastic.
Slow and steady wins the race for SK Telecom T1. Good ordered play that I'm sure their fans have been looking for a very long time, but not in the way they expected, with Pyrion in the mid lane and not the great man in FLICKR. Very strong game by the side of SKT. Thought Effort and Blank both had big games here. Imagine they will be considered for MVP, but in the end, it's just the sort of play you can look at, and from any angle, from the draft, from execution on the draft, from even the little moments outside of the laning phase for the Jace on the top side very early, everything fell into place for SKT.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit of a Griffin situation, you know? Like, we're just playing to have coordinated plays towards later stages of the game. It's the coordination, it's the control that they're really known for. It's exactly what SKT were able to employ in this game against a composition that was looking very, very scary moving into a situation like that. So we'll see what SKT can do in game number 2. Looks like Pyrion has probably earned his spot to stay on the roster to try and get this 2-0 victory. See whether SKT have any other ideas. You mentioned FLICKR's been streaming a heck of a lot. They've been playing a lot with Pyrion in scrims. And SKT looking great in game number 1. Looks like no reason to sub him out.
If they keep winning, it is hard to really parse when the moment is to bring FLICKR back. There's never a bad time to play FLICKR for most people, but for SKT on a 3-game win streak, it's just been solid and strong execution from them. So you'd have to imagine we'll see more Empyrean after the break.
Yeah, there will be a short break, guys. SKT looking brilliant in game number 1. BBQ suffering. And look at the Jace damage as we bring it up onto your screen. Didn't go long enough for Bang to eclipse the powerhouse in the laning phase, as Tal having a bit of a day out on the Jace this time around.
Those big shock blasts were doing damage in the late game, because late game was 30 minutes, not 45 to 50, where the Jace might start to fall away. In the lane after the early phase, got a lot more easy chip damage in that wasn't available earlier in the lane. So again, job well done by SKT. There's not really too much to say. It was very straightforward, and BBQ's mistakes, those were clear to see as well.
Yeah, now as we switch sides, we'll see whether BBQ can find themselves with a better composition, find themselves with some control, but it'll have to be after the break, as game 2 is coming right up.